The science lab was quiet that morning.
Let go of me.
Sunlight came through the tall windows. The tables were clean. The smell of chemicals was light in the air. Students walked in slowly, talking to each other. It looked like a normal school day. At the front of the lab stood Mrs. Carter, a black science teacher. She was in her late 30s. She dressed simple but neat. She always came early. She loved her job. She loved teaching. Many students respected her. They knew she was kind. They knew she was fair. She stayed after class to help. She never raised her voice. She believed every student could learn, but not everyone liked her. One student, Ryan, walked into the lab with a hard face. Ryan came from a rich family. His father was powerful in the town. Everyone knew his name. Teachers were careful around Ryan. Ryan did not like being told what to do. He sat down and put his bag on the table loudly. He looked around the room like he owned it. Some students felt uncomfortable. Mrs. Carter looked at him, but stayed calm. "Good morning, class," she said with a soft voice. "Please open your books to page 42. Most students opened their books. Ryan did not. He leaned back in his chair. He crossed his arms. He smiled in a bad way. Mrs. Carter walked closer to his table. "Ryan," she said kindly, "please open your book." Ryan looked up at her slowly. "Why?" he said. "This class is boring." The room became quiet. Some students looked down. Some looked at Mrs. Carter. They knew trouble was coming. Mrs. Carter took a deep breath. "This is school," she said. "We all have to follow the rules." Ryan laughed. "You don't tell me what to do," he said. "You don't know who my father is." The words stayed in the air. Everyone heard them. Mrs. Carter felt a small, tight feeling in her chest. But she did not show fear. "I don't care who your father is," she said. "In this class, everyone is equal." Ryan's smile disappeared. His eyes became cold. He stood up slowly. The chair made a loud sound on the floor. Some students moved back in their seats. Mrs. Carter stayed where she was. "Sit down, Ryan," she said. "You are disturbing the class." Ryan stepped closer to her. Very close. Too close. His voice became low. "You think you are strong?" he whispered. "You are just a teacher." Mrs. Carter felt danger, but she stayed strong. "Please go back to your seat," she said. Ryan did not move. He looked around the room. He saw fear in some faces. That made him feel powerful. In the back of the room, a student named Jamal watched everything. Jamal was quiet. He always noticed things. His hands slowly went to his phone, but he did not start recording yet. Mrs. Carter tried to change the moment. "Class," she said, "let's start the experiment." She turned toward the lab table. That was a mistake. Ryan's face changed. Anger filled his eyes. He took one fast step forward. Students gasped. Mrs. Carter felt someone behind her. She turned back. Ryan was right there, so close she could feel his breath. "Don't turn your back on me," he said. The lab felt smaller. The air felt heavy. Mrs. Carter's heart started to beat faster. "Ryan," she said quietly, "this is not okay." Ryan leaned even closer. "You think this school will protect you?" he said. "They protect me." Some students stood up from their seats. One girl whispered, "This is bad." The teacher next door could not hear anything. The door was closed. Mrs. Carter looked around, hoping someone would step in. No one did. Ryan lifted his hand slowly, not touching her yet, but close, very close. The room felt frozen. Jamal finally pressed record on his phone, hiding it under the table. Mrs. Carter swallowed. She felt something terrible was about to happen. Her hands were shaking. She tried to stay strong. "Ryan," she said, "please, go sit down." Ryan's jaw became tight. His eyes were full of hate. He took one more step. Now he was directly in front of her. Students held their breath. No one spoke. No one moved. The lab was silent. And then, Ryan lifted his hand higher, right toward her neck. The room stopped breathing. Ryan's hand moved closer to Mrs. Carter's neck. Time felt slow. Mrs. Carter's eyes became wide. She took a small step back, but the lab table blocked her. There was nowhere to go. "Ryan, please," she said quietly. But Ryan was not listening anymore. His face was red. His anger was out of control. In one fast move, he grabbed her throat. The sound of shock filled the room. Some students screamed. Some covered their mouths. Mrs. Carter gasped for air. Her hands went up to his arm. She tried to pull him away, but he was stronger. Her feet moved back. Her body hit the lab table. Glass tools shook. A beaker fell and broke on the floor. The loud crash made the moment feel even worse. Mrs. Carter could not breathe. Her face started to turn red. Her eyes filled with tears. Ryan leaned closer. "You will respect me," he said in a low, angry voice. The students were frozen. Fear held them in their seats. Jamal's hands were shaking, but his phone was still recording. The camera caught everything. His heart was beating fast. One girl stood up. "Stop! Please stop!" she cried. Ryan did not care. He squeezed tighter. Mrs. Carter tried to speak, but no sound came out. Her hands became weak. For a moment, it looked like she might pass out. That was when another student ran to the door. He pulled it open and screamed for help. "Teacher! Help! Someone help!" The hallway was loud now. Footsteps could be heard. Ryan finally looked toward the door. For a second, fear crossed his face. He let go. Mrs. Carter fell to the floor, coughing hard. She held her throat. She tried to breathe. Students ran to her. "Are you okay? Miss, breathe, please." Her chest moved up and down fast. Tears ran down her face. The lab door opened. A school staff member rushed in. "What's going on?" she shouted. Ryan stepped back like nothing happened. He lifted his hands. "She slipped," he said. The room went silent again. Everyone knew he was lying, but no one spoke. The staff member looked confused. Mrs. Carter tried to stand. Her voice was weak. "He grabbed me," she said. The staff member looked at Ryan. Ryan rolled his eyes. "She is lying," he said. "She hates me." The staff member hesitated. Ryan's last name was powerful. Everyone in the school knew it. That made things different. Security was called, but they came late. Ryan was already calm again. Like nothing happened. He fixed his shirt. He looked around the room with a cold smile. Mrs. Carter was taken to the nurse. Her hands were shaking. Her neck was red. Finger marks could already be seen. She sat on the bed, holding a tissue. The nurse tried to help her. "Take deep breaths," the nurse said. But Mrs. Carter could not stop shaking. Her mind kept replaying the moment. The grip, the pressure, the fear. Meanwhile, in the office, Ryan sat with the principal. He leaned back in the chair. His leg crossed. He looked bored. "This is being blown out of control," Ryan said. "She disrespected me." The principal looked nervous. "We will look into it," the principal said carefully. Ryan smirked. "My father will be calling," he said. And he was right. Minutes later, the phone rang. The principal's face changed. His voice became soft. "Yes, sir. I understand, sir." After the call, the mood in the office changed. Ryan was sent back to class. No punishment. No report. No police. Nothing. The students whispered in the hallways. "Did you see her neck? That was crazy. They are protecting him." Jamal went home with fear in his heart. He watched the video on his phone again. His hand shook. He knew what he had. He knew it was proof. But he was scared. Scared of Ryan. Scared of his family. Mrs. Carter went home early that day. She sat in her car for a long time before driving. Her hands were still shaking. When she finally walked into her house, she closed the door behind her and leaned against it. She slid down to the floor. She cried, not just from pain, but from fear, from shock, from feeling alone. She looked at her phone. She had many missed calls. From one person, her husband. She wiped her tears. She took a deep breath, and she pressed call. She did not know yet that this one call would destroy Ryan's future forever. The phone rang only one time. Then it was answered. "Hello," the man said. His voice was calm, strong. Mrs. Carter tried to speak, but her throat hurt. Her words came out broken. "He hurt me," she said. There was a long silence on the other side. Not because the man did not care, but because he was listening. Every breath she took, every shake in her voice. "I'm coming home," he said. "Don't say anything else. Just breathe." The call ended. Mrs. Carter stayed on the floor for a moment. Her hands were shaking. Her neck still burned. She slowly stood up and went to the bathroom mirror. She touched the red marks. Her eyes filled with tears again. She had faced many hard days as a black woman and a teacher. Disrespect, rude words, small hate. But this was different. This was violence. 30 minutes later, a black car stopped outside the house. The door opened. Her husband stepped out. His name was Marcus Carter. He was tall, Quiet. Always calm. He did not rush. But every step he took had purpose. He opened the front door. Mrs. Carter was standing in the living room. When he saw her neck, something changed in his eyes. Not loud anger. Not shouting. Something deeper. More dangerous. He walked to her slowly. He did not touch her neck. He did not want to hurt her. He placed his hands on her shoulders. Sit, he said softly. She sat on the couch. He sat in front of her. He looked at her eyes. Tell me everything, he said. She told him. About the class. About the words. About the hand on her throat. About how she could not breathe. About how the school did nothing. Marcus did not interrupt. He did not look away. When she finished, the room was silent. He took a deep breath. Then he reached into his pocket. He pulled out his phone. He did not yell. He did not pace. He made one call. Cancel my last meeting, he said. I need my legal team. Now. He ended the call. Mrs. Carter looked at him. You don't have to make trouble, she said softly. I just want to be safe. Marcus looked at her. This is not trouble, he said. This is protection. He stood up. He walked to the window. He looked outside for a long moment. His voice was low. They thought you were alone, he said. They were wrong. Mrs. Carter had always kept his work private. At school, most people thought he was just a regular man. Quiet. Simple. But Marcus was not simple. He owned companies. Big ones. He worked with powerful people. But he never talked about it. To him, his wife was more important than his money. More important than his power. He turned back to her. Did anyone record it? He asked. I don't know, she said. One student had a phone, but I don't know. Marcus nodded. I will find out, he said. His phone buzzed. He looked at the screen. He answered. Yes, he said. Yes, I want everything. No dilas. He ended the call. Mrs. Carter felt something change in the room. Not fear. Not sadness. Control. Quiet control. Marcus sat beside her. He held her hand. They will try to protect him, he said. People like him always feel safe. Mrs. Carter looked down. That scares me, she said. Marcus squeezed her hand. They should be scared, he said. Not you. The next morning, Mrs. Carter did not go to school. Marcus told her to stay home. He left early. Not to work. To prepare. At school, Ryan walked the halls like a king. He laughed with friends. He told people the teacher was weak. He told people nothing would happen. But behind the scenes, phones were ringing. Emails were being sent. Names were being checked. Jamal sat in his room, staring at his phone. The video was still there. His finger hovered over the send button. He was scared, but he remembered Mrs. Carter on the floor. He remembered her gasping for air. He made a choice. He sent the video, not to social media, to one email address. He did not know whose it was, but he knew one thing. Someone powerful had asked for it, and that someone was already moving. The storm had started. Ryan just didn't hear the thunder yet. Ryan walked into school with a smile. Not a happy smile, a proud smile. The kind of smile that said he felt safe. Too safe. He wore his jacket open. His headphones were on. He did not look at teachers. He did not look at rules. Students moved out of his way. They whispered as he passed. That's him. He did that. How is he still here? Ryan heard the whispers. He liked them. Fear made him feel important. In the main office, the principal watched Ryan walk by. The principal's face was tight. He wanted to stop Ryan, but he didn't. The phone call from Ryan's father was still in his mind. Power changed things. Rules bent. Justice waited. Ryan walked into the cafeteria. He slapped a tray on the table. His friends laughed. Bro, you really scared that teacher, one of them said. Ryan leaned back. She deserved it, he said. She forgot her place. Some students nearby heard him. They felt sick, but they said nothing. Fear kept them quiet. In another part of the school, Mrs. Carter's classroom was empty. Her chair was still pushed in. Her board still had notes from yesterday. Some students stood outside the door looking in. She's not here, one girl said softly. I hope she's okay, another said. But Ryan did not care. He walked past the room and smiled. Meanwhile, in a quiet office far from the school, Marcus Carter sat at a long table. Men and women in suits sat around him. No one spoke loudly. A large screen on the wall showed a paused video. Mrs. Carter on the lab floor. Ryan's hand on her neck. The room was silent. One lawyer cleared his throat. This is assault, he said. On camera. Marcus did not raise his voice. He did not show anger. This is more than assault, Marcus said. This is a message, and we will answer it. Another woman typed fast on her laptop. Ryan's father owns several local companies, she said. Construction, security, real estate. Marcus nodded. Check contracts, he said. Check partners. Check taxes. Phone started moving. Calls were made. Names were written. Quiet work. Serious work. Back at school, Ryan sat in class. The teacher tried to teach. Ryan did not listen. He tapped his pen. He smirked. He leaned over and whispered to another student. You see? Nothing happened, he said. I told you. The student looked nervous. People are talking, the student said. Ryan laughed. Let them, he said. Talk is cheap. But something strange started to happen. A teacher walked into the classroom and whispered to the teacher. The teacher's face changed. The teacher nodded slowly. Ryan noticed. He tilted his head. What? He said loudly. Nothing, the teacher said. Focus on your work. But Ryan could feel it. Something was different. At lunch, two men in suits walked into the school office. They did not wear school badges. They did not smile. They spoke quietly to the front desk. The front desk worker looked surprised, then nervous. Ryan saw them from across the hall. He frowned. Who are they? One student asked. No idea, another said. Ryan shrugged. Probably nothing, he said, but his stomach felt tight. Just for a second. At home, Ryan's father was on the phone. His voice was sharp. What do you mean an audit? He said. We did nothing wrong. He listened. His face became hard. He lowered his voice. Yes, I understand. He ended the call. He looked at the wall. Something was moving. Something big. But he did not connect it to the school. Not yet. That night, Ryan scrolled on his phone. He searched his name. Nothing. He laughed. See, he said to himself. Still clean. But somewhere else, emails were spreading. Files were opening. The video was being watched again. And again. Marcus stood in a dark room, looking at a city skyline. He held his phone. Phase 1 is done, a voice said on the other end. Marcus answered calmly. Good, he said. Now we apply pressure. Back at school, Ryan laid on his bed. He smiled. He felt safe. He felt untouchable. He closed his eyes. He slept easy. He did not know that while he was sleeping, his world was already cracking. And soon, everyone would hear it break. The news did not break slowly. It exploded. One video, one upload, one share, then thousands. The lab video was everywhere. On phones, on group chats, on news websites. Ryan's face was clear. His hand on Mrs. Carter's neck was clear. The truth was clear. Students woke up to alerts on their phones. Parents watched the clip in shock. Teachers stood in silence. The school could not hide anymore. By noon, news vans were parked outside the school. Cameras pointed at the front doors. Reporters talk fast. This is a shocking case of violence against a teacher. The video clearly shows the student attacking. The school is under fire. Inside the office, phones rang without stopping. The principal looked tired. Sweat was on his face. He held his head in his hands. This is out of control, he whispered. In another part of town, Marcus Carter stood in front of a large glass building. His name was on the wall, not in small letters. Big ones. Carter Global Group. Reporters stood outside. When Marcus walked out, cameras turned. Flashes went off. Mr. Carter, is it true you are the teacher's husband? Are you taking legal action? What do you say to the school? Marcus stopped. He did not smile. He did not look angry. He looked serious. Yes, he said. That is my wife. The crowd went quiet. My wife is a teacher, he continued. She went to work to educate children. She came home hurt. Cameras moved closer. This is not just about my family, Marcus said. This is about safety. This is about respect. The reporters went wild. Who is Marcus Carter? People searched online. What they found shocked them. Business owner, tech investor, real estate, international contracts, net worth in the millions, quiet billionaire. The story changed. Not just a teacher, not just a student. This was now big, very big. At Ryan's house, the TV was on. Ryan sat on the couch. His face was white. His father stood in front of the screen. His hands were shaking. That's him, Ryan said quietly. That's her husband? His father did not answer. He was staring at the screen. He knew that name. He knew that company. He knew what that kind of power could do. The phone rang. He answered. His face dropped. Yes, yes. I understand, he said. He hung up. Our main contract was just paused, he said. Investors are pulling back. Ryan stood up. What? Because of the video, he said. His father turned. This is not just a video, he said. This is war. At school, Ryan did not walk like a king anymore. He walked fast. He kept his head down. Students stared. Some pulled out phones. Some whispered. That's him. His life is over. He messed with the wrong family. Teachers watched him closely. Security followed him in the halls. For the first time, Ryan felt small. Meanwhile, Mrs. Carter sat at home. She watched the news quietly. Marcus sat beside her. You didn't want this, she said softly. I wanted truth, Marcus said. This is what truth looks like. Her phone buzzed. Messages from students. Messages from parents. Support. Love. Apologies. The world was finally listening. In a downtown office, lawyers worked fast. Papers moved. Statements were written. Complaints were filed. One lawyer looked at Marcus. We have enough to open multiple investigations, he said. Marcus nodded. Open them, he said. All of them. At Ryan's house, another knock came at the door. Not reporters. Men in suits. Official. Serious. Ryan's mother looked scared. Yes, she asked. We're here regarding your husband's business, one man said. We need to ask some questions. Ryan felt his stomach drop. He backed away. This was not school anymore. This was real life. That night, Ryan sat alone in his room. No music. No laughing. Just silence. He opened his phone. His name was trending. Not in a good way. He threw the phone on his bed. He buried his face in his hands. For the first time, he felt fear. Real fear. He finally understood. He did not mess with just a teacher. He messed with a man who could change his world. And the world was already changing. Fast. The fall did not come slowly. It came all at once. Ryan walked into school and felt it. The looks. The silence. The space people gave him. Not respect. Fear mixed with judgment. He went to his locker. Someone had written a word on it. Abuser. He stared at it. His hands shook. He looked around. No one helped. No one laughed with him. His friend were gone. In the office, the principal waited. Ryan, come in, he said. Ryan sat. This time he did not lean back. He did not smile. He kept his hands on his knees. Due to the video and investigation, the principal said, you are suspended. Effective immediately. Ryan's mouth opened. For how long? He asked. The principal looked at a paper. Until further notice, he said. That meant maybe forever. Ryan walked out of the office. His head low. Students watched. Some felt sorry. Most did not. At home, his father's world was crashing too. Business partners pulled out. Bank meetings became cold. One company canceled a big deal. Another asked for audits. Phones rang with bad news. Ryan's father shouted into the phone. This is a setup, he said. We did nothing wrong. But the voices on the other end were calm and firm. The power had shifted. At the Carter home, Marcus watched reports on a tablet. Mrs. Carter sat beside him. You didn't want to hurt anyone, she said. I wanted accountability, Marcus replied. This is what that looks like. At school board meetings, parents stood up. We want answers. Why was he protected? Why was the teacher left alone? The school district felt pressure. Big pressure. The board voted. Ryan was expelled. The letter was sent. Ryan opened it with shaking hands. Expelled. The word burned. He threw the paper across the room. This is not fair, he yelled. His mother cried. His father said nothing. He just sat, staring. Colleges that once showed interest, they disappeared. Emails came. Due to recent events. Application withdrawn. Offer canceled. Ryan's future closed door by door. At school, Mrs. Carter returned. Students stood and clapped. Not loud, but real. She fought tears. She did not raise her hands. She just nodded. Thank you. Jamal watched from the back. He felt proud. He had been scared, but he had done the right thing. The system moved. Police reports were filed. Lawyers spoke. Court dates were set. Ryan was called in for questioning. He sat in a small room. No Ismail. No power. Just a boy now, facing what he had done. At home, reporters camped outside. Neighbors whispered. Ryan stayed inside. He did not go out. He did not answer texts. No one invited him anywhere. He scrolled through old photos. Parties, friends, laughter, all gone. One night, he looked in the mirror. He barely recognized himself. Not because of his face, but because of his fear. For the first time in his life, he felt small. Meanwhile, Marcus met with his team. "This is not revenge," he said. "This is protection." Mrs. Carter's name became a symbol. A teacher who stood up. A woman who survived. Other teachers spoke out. Other students came forward. Stories came out. The truth spread. Ryan became a warning. A lesson. Not a king. Not untouchable. Just a boy who made a choice. And paid for it. He sat on his bed. Lights off. Phone face down. He whispered to himself, "I ruined everything." But it was too late. The damage was done. The fall was real. And the final chapter was still coming. The courtroom was quiet. So quiet, every breath could be heard. Mrs. Carter sat in the front row. Her hands rested in her lap. Marcus sat beside her, not as a powerful businessman, but as a husband, a protector, a man who stood for his family. Ryan sat on the other side of the room. He looked smaller than ever. His shoulders were low. His eyes did not meet anyone's. His parents sat behind him. No confidence. No pride. Only worry. The judge spoke calmly. "This court has reviewed the evidence," the judge said, "including video footage." Ryan swallowed hard. The video played again. Not for shock. For truth. Mrs. Carter did not look. She closed her eyes. She had already seen it enough. The judge continued. "This was an act of assault," the judge said. "There will be consequences." Ryan's future was decided in quiet words. Probation. Mandatory counseling. Community service. His record marked. Not destroyed. But changed. Forever. Ryan's father stood outside the courtroom. Reporters surrounded him. "Do you have a statement?" they asked. He said nothing. He walked away. For the first time in his life, he had no control. Mrs. Carter walked out slowly. People stood. Some clapped. Some cried. She felt something she had not felt in a long time. Peace. Not because someone lost, but because truth won. At school, changes were made. New rules. New safety plans. Training for staff. Zero tolerance. Students were told their voices mattered. Teachers were told they would be protected. Mrs. Carter stood in front of her class again. She looked at the students, not as victims, but as leaders. "Your voice is your power," she said. "Never be afraid to use it." Jamal sat taller. He knew he had helped, not with strength, but with courage. Ryan was sent to a different school. Far away. No friends. No name. Just a boy again. Forced to face himself. In counseling, he sat in silence. Then one day he spoke. "I thought power meant fear," he said. "I was wrong. It did not fix everything, but it was a start." At home, Marcus and Mrs. Carter sat on their porch. The sun was setting. The sky was orange and gold. "You changed more than one life," Marcus said. "We did," Mrs. Carter replied. She leaned on his shoulder, not as a victim, but as a survivor. News stories moved on, but the lesson stayed. Respect is not weakness. Silence is not peace. And power without character always falls. At school, a new poster hung on the wall. Respect. Safety. Justice. Students stopped. They read it. They remembered. Mrs. Carter walked the halls. Some students smiled. Some waved. Some said thank you. She nodded. Not for praise, but for hope. Ryan watched his old school online. Photos. Events. Faces. A life he no longer had. He closed his laptop. He whispered, "I wish I could go back." But life does not go back. It moves forward. With lessons. With scars. With truth. Marcus received a call. Another business deal. Another meeting. Another normal day. But he smiled. Because the most important thing was already handled. Justice. Not loud. Not cruel. But firm. The story did not end with revenge. It ended with change. With courage. With one clear message. Backhand index pointing right, never judge someone by their job. Backhand index pointing right, never mistake kindness for weakness. Backhand index pointing right, and never think power gives you the right to hurt others. Because in the end, true power always stands with truth.